Hello everybody, it's Non-Scene News here, and today we've got a lot of breaking updates today. So the first news is coming from the United Kingdom, where, as we were talking about yesterday, there's been huge protests, huge riots across the kingdom, and these are spreading like wildfire. So we've got some more updates on the protests. So one of these protests and riots are coming from Tamsworth, where if you can see here in your bottom left corner, riots actually cheered as they set fire to a Holiday Inn Express in Tamsworth. So this building, this hotel is actually housing asylum seekers. So very big riots are actually taking place here, and that's not the only news. So if you can see here in your bottom left corner too, it's actually unknown where this was actually filmed, somewhere in the United Kingdom. But if you can see here, rioters began to burn down a hotel which migrants were taking refuge. So there's also been news, if you can see here in bottom left corner, where British locals actually stormed in one of these hotels where migrants from Islamic countries are being held, and these people are stating that these people are living off taxes of ordinary Englishmen. So very interesting, but it seems that a lot of Islamist groups around the United Kingdom have actually responded to these anti-immigration riots and protests that have actually been happening across the United Kingdom. So one of these videos, if you can see here in your bottom left corner, this was filmed in one of the major cities in the United Kingdom. So you can see here Islamist communities around the United Kingdom are responding to these anti-protests. But the thing is, a lot of these groups have been spotted with weapons, have been spotted looting stores, and actually terrorizing native British people. So Sky News journalists actually caught one of these groups in action holding machetes. So I'll just give you the quick video of it.
And look very pleased about it whilst they did it. Then there was this, as I say, clash between protesters and the police, and that is when they then ran off across the park here. A big group ran off looking for trouble, it looked like to us. So we're just going to step away now from this group behind us, but a lot of disorder here, a lot of
disorder indeed. So there's also been news that one of these groups, these big groups, have actually been beating up native British people. This is just coming from videos I've seen and sources that have been posting this, UK sources. So it just seems to be popping off, and there's already been news that apparently a civil war in England escalates. So now there's civil war being brought into question. I'm not sure yet, but we've also got news coming from London that UK authorities will provide 38 or 29 million pounds to protect mosques and protect these mosques from protests and riots. So very interesting. Nigel Farage, the leader of the Reformed Party, actually stated that what we're seeing now is going to get far worse in the next coming weeks. So very interesting. And Elon Musk already stated that a civil war is on the horizon in the United Kingdom. And we've also got a lot of news coming from Dublin in Ireland that a lot of anti-immigration protests are clashing with Islamists in Ireland. So it's just not a lot of good things are happening here. A lot of clashes between two groups, and it just doesn't look good right now. So that's all the news I actually have from the United Kingdom right now. The next news is coming from Norway, where Norway will allocate $7.4 million to the UNICEF programs in Ukraine. These programs, apparently, according to the ministries of Ukraine, this program actually aims to support Ukrainian children and family affected in the Russian-Ukrainian war. So very interesting. So we've also got news coming from the Kiev Independent that the Kiev Independent stated that apparently NATO jets were scrambled after Russian Su-30s were detected near the Latvian airspace. So the Kiev Independent's reporting that 2 Russian Su-30s were detected near the Latvian border, and Latvia responded by calling its NATO allies to deploy F-16's or F-35's to try and intercept these jets. So we've got no videos to confirm this yet, but I'll keep you updated in this situation. Now we've got news coming from Hungary and Slovakia that Hungary and Slovakia may stop supplying electricity to Ukraine if Ukraine continues to block the transit of Russian oil. So sources are stating that about 40% of all electricity imports to Ukraine come through Hungary. So if you didn't know, that there's a pipeline that goes through Russia to Belarus, through Ukraine, that feeds Hungary and Slovakia Russian oil, and Ukraine's completely cut this pipeline. Now Hungary and Slovakia are stating that they may stop and cease all electricity support to Ukraine if this pipeline doesn't get resumed. So Ukraine is in dire need of electricity. This is no rumor, it's a fact. So let's see where this ends up. Now we've got news coming from Romania, where Ukrainian partisans actually set fire to a fuel depot in a Romanian city here. So this warehouse is believed to store fuel for the Ukrainian army. So apparently this could be pro-Russian just forces, pro-Russian people set fire to this fuel depot, but sources are stating that this is actually Ukrainian partisans. So very interesting. Now we've got news coming from Ukraine, where Ukraine actually released footage of Ukrainian Su-24s actually firing Storm Shadow cruise missiles. So if you can see here in the bottom left corner, we can see these Ukrainian Su-24s launch these British-made Storm Shadow cruise missiles. So very interesting, and again we've got confirmations that NATO F-16 jets are now operating in Ukraine. So the President Zelensky of Ukraine announced that during a briefing for the Air Force Day that Western F-16 fighter jets are now in Ukraine and performing their tasks. While he did not specify the missions of these planes are undertaken, he noted that the current number of planes and pilots are insufficient. So very interesting. We've got news that maybe only 7 or maybe 10 F-16s are actually on the territory of Ukraine, but nevertheless we've gotten actually footage of F-16s around Ukraine actually flying. So some have actually came out in Odessa. So if you can see here in the bottom left corner, we can see F-16s fly over Odessa. That's not the only place they actually flew over. They actually flew over Kiev today. So there was 2 F-16s that flew over Kiev today. So if you can see here in your bottom left corner. So you can clearly see these F-16s flying over Kiev today, so we can see 2 right there. So very interesting news. So these jets are now fully operating and it's fully under control of the Ukrainian forces. So now we've got news coming from the Kiev Independent. So the general staff of the Kiev Independent reported that apparently Russia has lost up to 582,000 troops in Ukraine since February 24th, 2022, when the invasion started. So obviously this is going to be a bit overestimated, because this actually is coming from the Kiev Independent, so this is obviously more of a pro-Ukrainian source. So obviously they're going to state that Russia has taken 1 million casualties or something, but I don't know what the actual real casualties. Maybe this is the real casualties, but obviously both sides are claiming that each side has up to or at least 500,000 casualties. So very interesting news. So I'll keep you updated on that. Now we've got news coming from Lebanon again. That again the US urges its citizens to leave Lebanon on any available ticket. And Turkey Foreign Ministry has also stated that it urges its citizens to avoid unnecessary travel to Lebanon and recommends that anyone in Lebanon leave while there's still commercial flights out of it. So very interesting. That's not the only 2 countries. Saudi Arabia has also stated this. So the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's Foreign Ministry has stated that and calls on all Saudi nationals to avoid traveling to Lebanon, and actually urges all Saudis in Lebanon to leave the country immediately. So very interesting statements, and we've also got more Iron Domes that have been transferred to the north of Israel. So obviously on the Hezbollah and Syrian border, and it's getting heated up here, and this comes when Iran has actually refused to soften its response to the killing of the Hamas political leader of Ismail in Tehran, and actually intends to retaliate against Israel, according to the Wall Street Journal, citing sources. So Iran is going to strike Israel because of the assassination of Ismail. So they've actually refused to soften this strike. So very interesting. It just seems that Israel's getting ready for this strike. The next news is actually coming from Yemen. So a video has actually arisen showing the wreckage of an American MQ-9 Reaper that was shot down by Yemeni forces in northern Yemen. So we actually got this news yesterday, but at first this was a rumor. It seems that it is true. So if you can see here in the bottom left corner, this is a clear wreck of an MQ-9 Reaper. So very interesting news, and it seems that American drones are being shut down in Yemen. The next news is coming from Mali. So Mali actually breaks off all diplomatic relations with Ukraine due to Kiev's support for international terrorism. This was stated on the national TV by the spokesman for the Mali government. So very interesting. This comes as Ukrainian special forces were actually spotted in northern Mali, helping rebel forces actually attack the Wagner forces that are trying to push these rebels out of the country. So very interesting. So Mali has now officially broke off diplomatic relations with Ukraine due to Kiev's apparently supporting international terrorism. So very interesting. Now we've actually got news coming from neighbouring countries of Mali. So Burkina Faso and Senegal have actually released statements to international communities to pay attention to support of terrorism by the Ukrainian embassies. So very interesting news. So Senegal and Burkina Faso has actually stated this. So now 3 countries are stating that Ukraine is now supporting terrorism in Central Africa because Ukrainian special forces were spotted helping rebels in Mali. The next news is coming from Tanzania. So very interesting news is that Chinese and Mozambican and Tanzanian military exercises are being held in East Africa. So if you can see here in your bottom left corner, so China seems to be doing exercises with these 2 African countries. So during these exercises, special attention will be paid to military operations to combat terrorism. So very interesting exercises are being held here. It's probably going to be like the Belarusian Chinese exercises that were being held in Belarus. So it seems that these 2 African countries and China are doing some military drills, doing some military exercises. So very interesting. The next news is coming from North Korea. So North Korea has announced that 250 launches for new ballistic missiles were handed over to border guards in the DPRK. Kim Jong-un personally congratulated the military units. So apparently coming from Pyongyang that apparently 250 new launches for ballistic missiles were handed over to the DPRK border guards. So if you can see here, this is one of the pictures that were taken here. So pretty big development when talking about the North Korean capabilities. So very interesting news is come from Bangladesh. I've just gotten these news now that apparently we've gotten the rumours that the Bangladeshi PM Prime Minister Hasina has resigned. So this is just media reporting this. So I don't know if this is true, but the Prime Minister of Bangladesh has seemed to resign. So this is just coming from the sources that are coming out right now. So it could be untrue. I don't know. We've got news coming from Australia that the spy agency ASIO raises Australia's national terrorism threat to a level from possible to probable in reaction to the unfolding events in the UK. So the last news is coming from the US, where the US Department of Defense has actually received more than 200 nuclear weapons in 2023, the largest shipment since the Cold War. So this replenishment was actually made possible thanks to the investments made by the administrators of foreign US presidents Barack Obama and Donald Trump, as well as the current American leader Joe Biden. This was stated by the head of the National Nuclear Security Administration. She believes that this will help equalize the balance of power with China and Russia. So very interesting events. So this actually might put America with with the most nuclear weapons in the world right now. So that's if Russia didn't produce any nuclear weapons. So that's all the news I actually have for you today. I am Non-C News. I'll try and provide you news that medias around the world do not show you. I do these videos hopefully daily, so consider liking and subscribing. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all later. Bye.